Hi you guys, my name is Shenita. I feel like I don't say my name enough when I start my video, so I'm gonna start saying my name. My name is Shenita. Welcome to my channel if this is your first time, or welcome back if you are a returning visitor. Thank you guys so much for stopping by and watching my video today. So as I'm sure you can tell by the title, we're gonna be talking about Africa. And of course I wanted to bring my husband Todd, whom you guys have seen before.
Blessings.
I wanted to bring him in so the two of us could sit down and just kind of talk about a few things as it pertains to Africa. So if you're interested in that, keep watching. The first thing we're going to talk about today is just our experience with going to Africa. It was 2 years in April of this year. So 2 years and a month or so that we took a trip to Africa. And we just want to talk about how that experience really impacted our lives and what we are planning for the future as far as that's concerned.
Well, first I want to say, if you've never been to Africa, you need to go. It's such a beautiful place, beautiful people, beautiful scenery. It is a wonderful, to me, a magical and spiritual place. I've often said that, I've always wanted to go there, but it seemed like something that I didn't think would ever happen. But, as a black person in this country of America, I definitely would support any black person going back to Africa. It is a must. And not just black people. I think everybody needs to go to Africa because it's a beautiful place, and you can learn a lot from there, and it's a lot to experience there. So by all means, if you have an opportunity to go, take advantage of it.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree, because one of the things that I know that I had on my bucket list, if you will, is to go to Africa, any country in Africa. And it was always something that I would maybe say it to people and we would talk about it, but I don't really think that we ever thought that it would be a reality. So when we were presented the idea of going, it kind of like, I know for me, it blew my mind, like the possibility of going somewhere clear on the other side of the world that I always wanted to go to, but never thought that I would. So that was kind of what went with us on that plane when we got on with our children to go. And if you guys haven't seen the video of our experience in Africa, Ethiopia specifically, I have that video on my channel, so please go check that out, and you can see our journey from start to finish going to Ethiopia. Amongst a lot of other things, that was one of the things that we took with us, just the fact that this trip was going to be an unbelievable experience, which it ended up being.
And like they say, God is everywhere, but he lives in Africa.
Yeah, yeah. Exactly. So if you had to touch on some of the things that really stood out to you during because we were in Africa, we were in Ethiopia for 2 weeks. If you had to pinpoint a few things that stood out to you about that trip, like things that you recall often, being back home now, what would those things be, do you think?
I would think the people stood out the most. Beautiful people, very kind, very warm, giving, caring, loving, and it was amazing seeing a country full of people that looked like me.
Yeah.
And in America it's very diverse, which is wonderful. However, I've never been in a setting where everyone looks like me, or my cousin, or my uncle, or my brother. It was amazing being in a setting where everybody looked like family. And so that was one things that jumped out at me.
Yeah.
Was the fact that, it was blackness everywhere.
The main thing that stood out for me actually happened before we even landed in Ethiopia. When we were flying from Dubai to Ethiopia, I had a window seat, and looking out the window and seeing the African continent for the first time, laying my eyes on the African continent for the very first time was, and I was thinking about this earlier, I was like, it was almost in essence, I was experiencing that feeling, that moment, because I mean, I just broke down and started crying, uncontrollably. And I think it was because I was experiencing that moment, not only for myself, but for my ancestors that never had the opportunity to experience that. And when I say my ancestors, I'm talking about my dad. I'm talking about my grandparents. I'm talking about my aunts and uncles and great-grands, all those people that I know for sure would have marveled at the same thing that I was marveling at. And I mean, Todd can tell you, he was sitting actually right on the right-hand side of me like he is right now. And he's like, why are you crying? What is wrong? And I was like, this is just the most unbelievable experience ever. And I know it's going to be the most unbelievable experience ever. And my emotions just flooded out of me. And I will never, ever, ever forget that moment in my entire life. And I really felt humbled and blessed in that moment that I was getting to take this journey that so many before me didn't have the opportunity to take, and I was very grateful for it. So, yeah. And then I'm tearing up a little bit, just recalling that. And then, yeah, the people there are just the kindest, the sweetest, the most welcoming people that, you know, some of whom we met didn't have very much. They knew that we were from America, and they were willing to give us the shirt off of their backs. And it's like, you know, in countries like that, I think when people perceive, you know, what Americans are, naturally, I think they think that we have some level of, not wealth, but some level of money or being able to take care of ourselves. So the fact that these people who we met that had, you know, what we would consider some struggles, were willing to give us the shirt off their back or the last drink that they had, you know, whatever it was just out of this world to me, because that's not something you really experience in America. If somebody's got something, more than likely they're keeping it for themselves. They're not giving it to somebody that they think is better off than they are. The fact that everyone was so just generous and kind and welcoming during our entire trip there was very comforting, you know, and an experience that, you know, like you were saying, that everybody should experience going to a country like Ethiopia. The other thing I will say is that not only did the two of us get to experience it as adults, which was incredible, but because we were able to also take our children, they were able to see life other than American life. And I think that it opened their eyes up, you know, to a whole new world. We were very, very blessed and fortunate to have been able to take that trip and share that with our children.
And plus, it's very educational. You know, to travel. You know, they say it's better than reading books. You know, because you get to see it firsthand. So, you know, traveling with our kids was wonderful, because, you know, we know that that's something that they'll remember, you know, forever, and they'll tell their kids about it one day. So, you know, it was an amazing experience. So the purpose of the trip was for us to go down and support and lend a helping hand to the local preachers and churches down in Ethiopia. We went to the capital city of Addis Ababa, and from there we went into the countryside, where we went to different towns in the region. You know, the purpose was to, you know, help and to encourage and to you know, fellowship with our brothers and sisters of like mind in Ethiopia. And so the congregation that we attend has a relationship with several churches in the Addis Ababa area, and so they sent a family down there my wife, my two kids, they sent us down there to, to support them and to encourage them and to just extend a connection and have a fellowship with them as well. And so that was our purpose. Also, we went down there to continue our fellowship with the brothers and sisters in Ethiopia as well. So prayerfully, we will continue to send members of our congregation down to Ethiopia to fellowship with the brothers and sisters down there so that we can kind of like stay connected in the years to come.
The next thing we want to talk about is just some of the feedback that we got on the original video that we made after the trip. So about 2 months after we came back from Ethiopia, I created a YouTube video using footage taken by me, Todd, and both of our daughters, and I kind of spliced it together. And it's so funny because a lot of people, when they would watch it, they were asking us, hey, did you guys have a camera crew with you guys? And it's like, no, we didn't have a camera crew. But that was kind of what I was going for. If you look at that video, that first video, you'll see that you never see all four of us at the same time for the most part, because at any given time, one of us was the camera person. So I was able to, like I said, splice all that together, add pictures, music, things like that. And that video was the finished product. Now, did we think it was going to be viewed as many times as it has been viewed? No, not at all. So because of that, because it's gotten so many views, and to this day it still gets a lot of views, we've gotten a lot of feedback from people who are either excited, love the fact that we took this trip and are supportive and give their encouraging words, or we've had a small percentage, I'd say maybe about 25% of the feedback we've gotten has been negative feedback. And I'll just say, for me, the most offensive part of that negative feedback was, of course, people calling us out of our names, saying things not only about us, but our children. And a lot of that was, well, not a lot of it, all of that was hurtful because, like we just explained, this trip was life-changing for us. And it was such a positive experience. So then to have people leave negative feedback under the video was a little disheartening. And I guess I'll let you talk about it a little bit more, Todd.
Yeah, I think you were more hurt and offended than I was.
Yeah.
Because people's words don't really bother me. How can you hate on a family going halfway across the world to do something good? Mm-hmm. How can you find anything negative to say about that?
Well, people are gonna find something negative to say about everything.
So let them talk.
Yeah.
And after all, we're the ones that did it. They the ones watching us. So yeah. Thank you for your view. Mm-hmm. And I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah.
But I think the one thing that did irk me was people not knowing why we went down there. Mm-hmm. A lot of the comments were, oh, you going down there poisoning them with the white man's religion and the white man this and the white man that. And that was totally not our mission. Mm-hmm. If you watch the video, you see our mission.
Which people that left those negative comments probably didn't watch the whole video.
No, they
probably
didn't.
Watched bits and pieces of it and then picked it apart.
They're saying that we are teaching the white man's religion. My thing is, who told you that Christianity was the white man's religion? Mm-hmm. It probably was some white man. So who's the one being bamboozled by the white man? It's you. But anyway, that's a whole other video I could start anyway. But, I think the purpose, again, was for us to encourage people of like mind, mm-hmm. people who are already Christian.
Yeah.
So we went down there to support Christians, not to create none. So,
yeah.
Why did we go down there? It was to support Christians, mm-hmm. not to make any, and not to change anybody's religion or anything like that. Mm-hmm. We went down there to support people that believe the same thing we do, which is Jesus is the Lamb, the Son of God.
Yes. Amen.
Jump.
Of course you had to throw that in there. But yeah, but like I said, that was like a small portion of the comments that we got.
Yeah,
For the most part, it was people being positive and supportive and really understanding what we were trying to say with our video and what we were trying to communicate.
So what was your favorite moment of the trip? And what was your least favorite moment of the trip?
Well, I talked earlier about, seeing the African continent, and I'd say that was probably the most profound moment of the trip. But as far as favorite and least favorite, my favorite moment of the trip, I think, was, although it was a little scary because of our driver, was probably our trip to the countryside, because it was just so beautiful. It was so peaceful, and just the realization that I was literally, I felt as if, I was literally in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been down south. I've lived down south in America, but to be down south or in the countryside of Ethiopia is quite a different experience. It's like you feel detached from everything. Everything. Your phone's not going to work. There's very little people around. And it's just you and nature. And I think for me, that was my most favorite part of the trip, because mosquitoes, yeah, mosquitoes, big mosquitoes. But for me, I think that was my most favorite part of the trip, because I felt so connected to Mother Earth. And I can be 100% honest about that. My least favorite part of the trip is I did get sick. I didn't document that in our video, but I did get pretty sick, and I was sick for about 3 or 4 days. And it was because my tummy couldn't handle some of the foods that we were eating. And I have a lot of allergies too, which I've mentioned many times before on this channel. But my tummy just could not handle a lot of the different types of foods that we were eating. And it wasn't so much different types of foods, it was the food is different. So eggs are different there. Chicken is different there. Everything we were consuming was just slightly different than the way that we get them here in America. So my tummy just was like, okay, no. So I was in the bed actually for a couple of days while we were there. I had to see a doctor, I had to take medication. But with all that being said, I still had the most amazing trip in my entire life. And I wouldn't change anything about it at all. Yeah. At all. And what about you?
I think my favorite part was when we were walking to the outdoor church in the country, and they greeted us with a song.
Yeah.
And when they did that, it moved me to tears, because I felt so welcome when they did that. And I felt that the 16-hour flight to get over there was worth it just for that one moment.
Yeah.
And everyone was so kind to us after the service, and I think that was my favorite little moment, little heartfelt moment was when we experienced that. I also liked, like you said, driving in the country. It's just you and God's creation.
Yeah.
And it was just beautiful down there, and seeing how people live and seeing the kids walking to school.
I was gonna say that too.
Yeah,
the kids were so sweet. Yeah. I mean, we met so many, and of course there was a language barrier there, but we met so many.
But we could
really
understand
sweet.
them.
Yeah.
They could understand us. It's just kindness. There is no language for kindness. It was just, you could just tell it and understand it. And so, and the kids were so appreciative of us being down there too. That was great.
Yeah.
And then seeing our kids playing with those kids,
interacting with them.
Yeah, it was just a wonderful experience. And then I would say my least favorite part of the trip, I don't know. I probably would say I don't want to say the food, but I would probably say, I think maybe the variety of food. That would probably be the one thing that, would probably my least favorite. But, like you said, I'd do it all over again in a heartbeat.
Mm-hmm.
The food ain't that big a deal for me to keep from going there. So, I would definitely be back. And, yeah. And then, okay.
No, you're fine. I was just gonna say, for me, it's amazing to hear when Taya and Kenya will say, "I want to go back to Ethiopia."
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's like, because I know that we dealt with some things like you were saying, the mosquitoes and things that we're not so much used to, and it's like even with things that we were going through personally, we would still all want to go back, and that's a beautiful thing to me. So that leads us, I guess, to answer the question that you came here probably to see the answer for, and that's if we will ever go back to not even just Ethiopia. Would we ever go back to Africa? Are you ever going to go back to Africa, Todd?
Absolutely. Can't wait to go back.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Preferably we can go back with more people next time, and I want everybody to have that experience of going there, and it's just, I just really believe everybody needs to see different parts of the earth, and what better way and what better place to go than Africa.
And Africa as a continent as a whole is beautiful. But you rarely hear people mention Africa or any of the countries within it as being an ideal place to go, even to visit.
Or vacation
or to live or to do anything.
The funny thing is, we did, in our time there, even though we did a lot of work, we still had time to kind of like relax and vacate. And we ate at 5-star restaurant. We had massages. We did the whole spa thing. We had a wonderful time. And whatever you do on vacation in, say, Italy or whatever, you can do it in Africa.
First of all, if you're black, and Todd kind of touched on this at the beginning of the video, if you're black, you, I feel, need to make it your mission to, at some point in your life, visit one of the countries in Africa. There is a plethora, as I'm sure that you know, because it will change your whole perspective on what you thought you knew about Africa and the countries within it. It surely will. And the people who are starting to realize that, you'll find that a lot of them are now moving to countries in Africa, right? Yeah. Because you go there and you're like, oh my God, like what? Like I should have come here 10 years ago.
Exactly.
I should have made it my mission instead of spending money to go to, like we were saying, some of these other countries, which, I'm not knocking any other country. I'm saying as a black person, it's okay to go and find out where your roots are from. Other cultures do that. Other nationalities do that. And so there's nothing wrong with us as black or African descendant people. There's nothing wrong with us doing the same thing. You can get these 23andMe or like these lineage kits, test kits that will help you determine where you are from within the African continent, and it can help narrow down possibly where you'd like to visit. Don't let the perception of what we've been told some of these places are like deter you from journeying out and finding out more about who you are and where you come from. You were saying earlier about how we want to go back and take other people with us. So that is something that is being discussed, and hopefully within the next few years you guys will get to see our second journey to the continent of Africa. We're very hopeful for that. I am so excited that we finally were able to sit down and tape this for you guys, because it's something we've talked about almost daily, I think, since our trip to Africa, I think we touched on pretty much everything we wanted to touch on. Africa for us was an incredible experience, and we talk about it pretty much every day, so we knew at some point after the video got as much love as it did, the original video got as much love as it did, that we wanted to sit down and kind of do a follow-up. So we thank you guys so much for stopping by and kind of getting a first-hand account of what we experienced. And we appreciate you all for taking the time to come by and watch this update. And yeah, we hope you guys enjoyed it. And
to all the Ethiopians, we thank you so much for being welcoming to us when we visited your beautiful country, and many blessings.
Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.